Hey everyone, it's finally Friday. You know what that means? It means I'm on Facebook answering your questions for you using the hashtag KatieFAQ. I have found 4 of them today, and I have a journal topic at the end, so stay tuned. And if you like my Q&A videos, give it a thumbs up and let me know, okay? Without further ado, this question was actually one that this person had asked under the collaboration I did with Courtney Pants, and it got 25 thumbs up, she said, and then she copied and pasted and asked it on Facebook because I didn't get to it on Wednesday. So thanks for following me along my days. So the question is, I'm jealous of the relationship you guys have, Katie. Are you this way with all of your clients? Am I seeing the wrong therapist? It just seems like Courtney can really be herself with you. I'm not that confident yet, and your care for her is so evident. I mean, you watch her videos. I doubt my therapist would do the same. I don't know. I guess everyone's different, question mark. It depends. I mean, every relationship is different. Am I the same way with all of my clients? Not really, because each client is different. Some clients, especially some of my older clients, I guess, that aren't around my age, we have a very different kind of relationship, and it's more business because it's just the way that it is. It's the way that feels good for them. And so I just kind of cater to my clients. Most of my clients that are around my age or in my age range seem to be more like friend talks, I guess. I mean, obviously I'm still trying to listen and give them helpful, things to consider and advice that I think might work, and having them just think about things in a different way. And that goes for all of my clients. But I mean, every relationship is different, whether it's a therapist and a client relationship or it's a friend and a friend or a boyfriend, girlfriend, it doesn't matter. Every relationship is different. So with Court, I guess, we just have a very friendly relationship. And you can have that. If that's something that you want, then find a therapist that feels okay with and that you feel connected with. I mean, regardless of how close or comfortable you want to be, you at least need to have that kind of click with them where you feel really comfortable. It can take a little bit to feel comfortable, give yourself a couple of months, but you should feel okay being happy, sad, vulnerable, embarrassed, whatever. You should feel okay going through all of those things with your therapist. I think that's what's most important. And I have a video on that called The Therapeutic Relationship. So you probably could Google it, but you can search it on my channel and you can find it that way, and check that out as well, okay? Question number 2, is it possible to convince yourself that something you're struggling with may be worse than it actually is? Whenever my therapist has pointed out that I'm struggling with something, like my eating disorder or my depression, it seems like my behaviors and feelings only worsen. Is it because I'm all of a sudden becoming more aware of my behaviors, or am I just psyching myself out and thinking about things too much? And this is a tricky question. Can we make ourselves think it's worse than it actually is? Yes, we can, because we can ruminate, and we can focus on the negative, and we can, I guess those are the 2 biggest things, right? So if we're just sitting at home thinking about how shitty everything is and how depressed we are, and we're not talking about it with anybody, we're not trying to work on it, it can make it feel like it's worse. And it can actually get worse, to be truthful. So yes, however, our eating disorders tend to be really sneaky and tell us that we're not as sick as we really are. And then when we say it out loud, we're like, holy shit, I am really sick. Because that's how it thrives. That's how it survives in us, is by lying to us, telling us we're not sick enough, we're not good enough. It's just all negative stuff. And so it pushes us to keep using our eating disorder, keep using those behaviors to get more sick so we're worthy of treatment. And it just kind of makes things a mess. So that is normal to think, oh, I'm just psyching myself out, I'm thinking about it too much. But by saying it out loud, you're actually acknowledging the things that you're doing. And that's most likely why you feel like it's worse than you thought it was, because your eating disorder tricks us and it makes us think we're not as sick as we actually are. But then when we're in therapy, we realize we are. Does that make sense? But yes, so I would say most likely you're not overthinking it and making it worse than it is. It probably is worse than a lot of times we want to admit. Okay? Question number 3. My therapist said I needed to forgive myself and believe that God will forgive me for things I've done. I guess it has to do with the self-hate, low self-esteem, etc. But my question is, how the heck do I do that when all the stuff in my head is telling me something different? Where do I even begin? Thanks so much. Love your channel. That's a lot she's asking for you. I'm hoping that you've worked with her for many, many, many months, hopefully a year more. Because forgiving ourselves takes a long time. The belief that God will forgive us is easier for many people, for those of you who are religious or believe, because that's what he does, right? We're supposed to apologize to him and say, I'm so sorry that I did this. I feel terrible. And then we're supposed to believe that he forgives us. That's what repenting is, right? What praying and saying you're sorry is for. Forgiving yourself is a whole nother chunk of work. And a lot of it has to do with that self-talk, that negative self-talk. So you're saying all the things in your head are telling you the opposite thing. So I would encourage you to do that talk back thing that I talk about in my workbook, task 1. Even though it's eating disorder voice, healthy voice, it can just be mean voice and nice voice. And you have to talk back to the mean voice with something nice, because often when we just fill our head with negative things and that voice keeps saying, oh, you're so terrible, blah, 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 we often start to believe it. Surprise. So to begin the process, I think starting to talk back to it would be really good. And then in your journals at the end of the day, I would encourage you to write 2 things each day that you're thankful for and that you love. And we're just going to try to change our focus onto more positive things. Then we'll work on the forgiveness, because like you said, you're right on the money when you said I think it has a lot to do with like my low self-esteem and stuff like that. And it definitely does. And if we start working on that and turning that around, the forgiveness part will actually be pretty easy. Okay, so let's start there. I know maybe you've done that work, so if you need more, let me know below. But otherwise, I think that's where we'll start. Okay, question number 4. And this I get a lot. This question has been coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. And I've been answering some people because I'm like, oh, I can answer that really quick. But then I thought, hey, if I'm getting all these questions, all of you probably wonder. Question is, why does cutting in certain spots make you feel more release/better than cutting in other spots? Any of you can correct me if I'm wrong. You can leave your thoughts on this below. However, my belief is that most of my clients have focused on 1 to 2 body parts. The most common, stomach, that's the most common, and thighs, second most common. People will cut in those places. Honestly, all of my self-harm clients at the time, they cut in those places. And I find that we do that because we have a negative association with that body, like that portion of our body. And we do it as a way to like punish ourselves or to make what's uglier even uglier because we deserve it. And it's part of that nasty negative headspace that we get in around our self-harm and the urges that tell us, you're already hideous. You deserve to do that there. And look how fat your stomach is, or blah, blah, blah. It's like that nasty, nasty voice. And so that's why oftentimes we'll end up cutting those places more, and it'll feel better because it's more warranted by our self-harm voice and whatever it tells us. And it's honestly kind of sad because it really just perpetuates that negative body image or that negative thought about that portion of our body. So I would encourage you to start thinking about it, what it means for you. And if you can argue back to that thought and the reason that you think you cut there more. Thoughts, anybody? You can share your beliefs and thoughts about that, okay? And the journal topic of the day, drum roll, is, and this is because all of these I felt like we needed to kind of focus on the positive and change our mindset. Things I love, ... Now, I would like you to make a list and keep adding to this list. I made notes here, like I always make notes, because otherwise I forget. But, how often do we take the time to figure out what truly makes us happy? What do we really like? What makes us excited and we look forward to it? What do we leave feeling energized? What is it? Can we make that happen more often? I would encourage you today to do one thing that makes you happy and to start this list. Things that make me happy, or things I love is technically the prompt. But I think that if you keep adding this and make sure you're doing one of these things each week, we'll start to feel a little bit better, a little bit happier, and enjoy ourselves a little bit more, which is what life is all about, right? So do those. Take pictures of those things. Send them to me on Instagram. You can put me in the comment at KatieMorton1. Or you can take a picture and tweet it to me because I love to see those things that you're doing that you love, even if it's just painting your nails or a picture you drew or whatever. Share it and share it with everybody else, and let's spread the love, okay? Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I'll see you on Monday. Bye.